Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Davila-Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I am your host, Davila-Irving, and this is another Sunday edition of Art Loves Fashion. Today, my special guest is the amazing Ashleigh Taylor. We've got like a really fun show for you guys today. We've been sitting and chatting behind the scenes. Today, Ashleigh we're gonna talk about a few behind we're gonna talk about small businesses, how small businesses are doing. She's gonna share with us some hair tips on what we need to be doing at home or not doing at home. And then we're going to talk a little bit about art. And Ashleigh is also an art lover, so she's going to stick around for that. And then we're going to be talking about fashion, of course. And today, in case you guys haven't noticed on your calendars, today will be the ending weekend of Coachella. So we've got to talk about fashion and festival fashion. So let's get started. And thank you for time. So Ashleigh, thank you for joining me. Welcome.
I love it. This is so cool. It really is. This is so cool.
Thank you for joining. So Ashleigh, do me a favor and just kind of take a minute and just introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, how you got started, all that good stuff.
Woo! How much time do you have? Hi, everyone. My name is Ashleigh Taylor. I am owner of Taylor & York Salon, located in Shaw, Washington, D.C. And I've always been a creative. I've always been able to work with my hands and envision something in my head and manifest it through my hands. So quite honestly, if it wasn't hair, it could have easily been, fixing refrigerators or play. It's always something where my hand and making that correlation with what's going on in my head. But I've always loved I did once I went away to school. I tried to go to college. Wasn't for me because I always found myself doing hair in the dorm. So when I realized that, academia wasn't the path for me, I said, well, I want to do, if I'm going to do hair, put 100% into it. So went to cosmetology school, and the rest is history. Of course, there's a lot of twists and turns in that, but it's been an amazing journey. Like things that I wanted to start off doing, where I dibbled and dabbled in fashion and wanted to create, but it's funny how all of that can be put together in what I do. So I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Okay, interesting. So first of all, that whenever I have guests, it always cracks me up because guests talk about things that take my brain in like a whole nother path. When you were saying you started off in college and decided you really felt like hair was your thing,
that takes me off into a whole nother thought process, because as a mom, and you're also a mom,
Right.
how your that makes me think like, how did your parents respond to that? And like, takes a lot of courage to jump off the quote unquote traditional path and go into a creative path.
Yeah, it did. I remember I was coming home for winter break, I think, but nonetheless, it was over Sunday dinner. And of course, I talked myself through it, like, I'm just going to go in there and tell mommy that I don't want to do this anymore. And it was literally over dinner. And she was supportive. I was like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to waste anybody's money because I'm not doing anything. But I already had the plan. I knew I couldn't just, it wasn't even in me to just go home and sit and do nothing.
Right.
So she was like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I want to go to cosmetology school. I've looked up the prices, financial aid aspect and all of that. And to this day, she, as my mother, she tells me how she was inspired by me and my courage, because she couldn't have had that conversation.
Yeah.
With my grandparents. So
yeah.
Secretly, she was rooting for me. So
yeah, that's so good. And that's so true. Like parents, as parents, we do the best that we can, and we do what we learn. And so like, kudos to her for just kind of, because it took the courage for you to jump out there, but it took the courage for her as the mom to be like, okay, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and she knew, and we talk about it to this day, about the remember wins. Remember when you moved to New York, because that's a big part of the puzzle too. Moved to New York, thought I was working in a salon up there, and scared her half to death. Oh, I'm just thinking of, literally as I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about, because I slept in my car. The journey has been amazing. Yes, if my daughter came to me, oh my goodness, the stuff I put my mother through on this creative journey, I know has probably given her several heart attacks. Several.
Shout out to Mama, who weathered the storm with you, right?
Right. We all do.
So speaking of sort of that journey of being a creator, I think everyone is now having this conversation around how things are going to look different. And I know in every single industry, people are talking about what this is going to look like in the aftermath, and what will be the lasting changes that come of this. What are your thoughts regarding the beauty industry during this and in the aftermath?
This is something I think about literally from the time I wake up to when I go to bed, and have dreams about it. So it's, as a creative, a hairstylist in particular, we are, and depending on where you are in your career and what you want to contribute to the industry, we're constantly creating. You know what I mean? We're constantly coming up with ideas and ways that hair can look from a different color. So the creative part is always going. The challenge is finding a way to sustain yourself during this. So as a salon owner, what comes with that? You got rent, you have overhead, you have product, on top of creating at the same time, and thinking of different ways. So I literally have to sometimes put the creative aspect on hold and put the business cap on, like, okay, how is this going to make money? How are you going to sustain yourself and, the home or the other stylists that you do have? So that's where we are. I think a lot of it is going to pivot to a lot more online content. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to be, because the number of people that are going to be in the salon is going to have to lessen. So with the lessening of volume, that translates to lessening of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you would
for
just have to
sure.
think of another way to do that, whether it is education, whether it's, I know we've uploaded some virtual sessions, tutorials, how to do your hair, how to apply color at home, and just have it like stretching the boundaries of virtual connection as far as we can. Because even this is new for us. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you have and I've used this analogy before, but you have this box, and we've all been in these boxes. So now that the walls of these boxes are gone, it's like, okay, I find myself walking over this way. Oh, this is new. Let me see what's in this direction.
Right.
Oh, this is over here. Let me try that. So that's the state, that we're all in.
Yeah. And and interestingly, when you talk about the boxes, my immediate thought is back to that word courage. Like, and not having the walls means a little bit of vulnerability. And I think this has brought everyone to a phase of figuring out where their vulnerabilities are and how do you kind of get past that to continue to be creative and You said there's on the one hand it's the being creative, on the other hand it's you are a business owner and you have other people who are in your employ, and so it can't, when we watch TV and we watch like mainstream, you see like the larger businesses talking about how are we going to, I've got employees and all that kind of thing, but we're also seeing the stories of how do small businesses continue to exist. And I think the courage, the creativity is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, because that's at the same time, that's our fuel. That's our drive. That's what helps us to not dive so deep into that hole of like, oh shit, I'm about to, because you can find yourself going there, and then you find inspiration, whether it be on Instagram or whatever, and then it takes you out of it, where you can start creating again. Like, oh, when I get, like, I'm always thinking, like, oh, when I get back and this new technique that I've learned and this color that I'm going to do, but it's like, all right, how is it still going to translate to dollars? How are people going to buy into this creativity? So,
and that one of the things that I do sort of think about and wonder, I want to ask you, because I've thought about some of my friends who are artists as well. How do you keep that creativity flowing? So you don't necessarily have your canvas in front of you. How are you staying creative at home?
Following, so this is the benefit of social media through all of this, because normally I wouldn't have had the time to just sit on my phone and endlessly just scroll.
Right.
But now that I do, I find myself going to places on, whether people's pages, and just diving into their content, and no matter what, it sparks something, whether it wouldn't necessarily be something I would do per se, but I see it and it sparks something. And I think that's how, usually when we're in the salon, we might be inspired by the stylist that's sitting next to us. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Or you're looking through this magazine, or if I'm looking over the shoulder of a client while I'm applying. Yeah. So we're always stimulated. Yeah. So now when you have to, draw upon that from yourself, different things I look at. I love homes, and the correlation between homes and hair color, I don't know, but it sparks something. Whether I'm looking at, I was looking at the other, what's the girl? It's some girl, she's in Kansas City, and she rehabs these beautiful mansions. But just seeing how the process, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. The tools are different, but it's that same process. And I get inspired by watching people's process. I can respect that as a creator.
So are you at home telling your daughter, like, come here, let me do something to your hair? Are you like, itching to like do stuff with your hands? You said you're like a hands-on person. Are you like walking around like I gotta paint and I need to like cook something. I need to.
I wish it were cooking, but no, cooking isn't my ministry. What I do, I love the uploading content and curating that.
Oh, okay.
I could spend all day doing that.
Oh, okay.
So that allows me to release some more of my creativity.
Okay.
Different fonts, different effects. Oh, like I could get it.
So you're becoming your creativity is coming out in technology.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Like, and that's the thing. We joke about it at the salon. Like after all of this, we will have certificates in engineering. Like
Absolutely.
The videos and the production of it, in order for like these 60 seconds or this 15 seconds to be maximized, you have to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot, there's a lot that goes behind that.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's not here for it. I put some braids and some beads in her hair, but she's not. Maybe when she gets older.
Now, how old is your daughter?
5.
Oh, okay. So she's like, I got playing that I need to do, and you're in the way.
Finished yet? She's not. No.
Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, the rest of us, are sitting here, would love to be the crash dummies of the hairstylist. Yes, and Lord. so those of us who are at home, trying to figure it out, getting creative, and like scrolling through our hairdresser's Instagram and like feeling nostalgic, like having to do your own hair. And then shout out to the moms. You and I are probably on two opposite ends of the spectrum right now. You got a 5-year-old, I've got an 18-year-old. So, it's no way, but neither of them are letting us near their hair, right?
Right.
That's so true. So for those our listeners and viewers and friends who either have kids who are at the age who we still have to do their hair, or who have that phase where you start trying to do your own hair,
right?
And it's going to the left. I think about, that phase where they're like 12, 13, 14, 15, and they start taking over, and they're doing a great job, and you just watching that thing just get ate all up.
I've been there. Lord have mercy. I've been there personally.
Well, we need the help. So what is, first of all, I would say, first off, if you had to tell somebody right now, stop and back away from the blank, what is it that we need to not be doing at home right now?
It's 2 things. And I think about this more than anyone would even imagine. Lower the heat on your flat iron or your curling iron.
Ooh.
Just lower it. I don't care what you're doing. Just lower it. Step away from that 450 or 400. And if you...
So where should those flat irons be?
What'd you say?
What temperature should the flat iron be?
So it's 2 parts to it. If you've just finished shampooing, conditioning, blow drying, that's when you do the 450. Okay. If you need to touch it up during the week, like in between those, like a full-on session.
Okay.
375, 390.
Okay. You guys hear that out there in Instagram world? Or if you're listening, we need to say that again. Because there's so many people who that thing is not bending how they need it to. And now that everyone is in the land of having to go to virtual meetings and all of that, people doing a quick bump.
A quick bump is 350, 375, 390. Or if you don't have the temperature setting, put it on medium. Do not, because you're entering into heat damage.
Woo!
with that much heat over and over again. You don't need it.
So I could smell the hair cooking as you saying it. We all know the smell. We all know the smell. So
Uh,
and listen, and if I always bring in relationships when we're talking because art, love, and fashion. If you live with somebody, you have to sleep with somebody. What you don't want is to be laying down with that smell in your hair. So for the good of your love relationship, go ahead and bump that thing down.
yeah, just don't even, and it doesn't even matter. Like if you're putting some products out here with barrier heat protection.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Back away from the high heat. Okay, that's number one. What's the other thing we need to back away from?
All right. So it would be unrealistic for me to sit up here and say, don't color your hair. Okay. Because I'm at the point I'm at the point where I'm doing it probably every 2 weeks. I know what I'm doing now.
You know what you're doing, though.
I know what I'm doing. So even if I'm not your stylist, if you need to call me or DM me, Ashleigh, what color, what tone, what level should I get? Do not get black. Don't get black.
Yes.
Do not get black.
Yes.
You will spend so much more money after Rona is over coming in the salon because that bleeds into a color correction. You don't need it.
No black hair color. Do not do it.
No.
Now, I do know that. I have, from in the salon, watching people talking about they want to get it. And it happens when it's like the girls who've been wearing black for a long time and they're like, girl, let's try something different. Or somebody who, honey, as an amateur, as a non-hairstylist, but somebody who has watched it go down.
Yeah.
The black hair color is a whole black and red is like, it is not a game.
No, it's not. In red, it's the same. Oh boy, I can't even tell you like the hours I've spent trying to lift black out of the hair, lift those molecules out and still maintain the integrity of the hair.
Yeah. And so most people are no matter how dark you think your hair is, most people are not actually, their hair is not actually black.
No, at best. Even the zebra stripes aren't black. I mean, let's be clear. It's a dark brown.
Okay.
Dark brown.
So back away from the high heat, back away from black color if you're going to be trying to touch up your roots. Okay, so we got the two big don't do's. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that we can do and that what should we be doing? Let's start there.
I've always been of the less is more approach.
Less is more.
And it's a fine line, and this can go into so many different directions because you do have people who are comfortable on the Zoom meetings with the, ancestral head wrap knots and the twist outs that they do. Then you have the clients that's just, that aren't comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. So it's finding what your comfort zone is as far as what your what you can do with your hair.
So for those of us who are the every 2 week salon sisters, who we don't want to do the hair wraps, or we're not in a position to be able to do those, and our hair is not necessarily at the state where we can do out and that kind of thing. Because I can, my hair, the roots, I can do a twist out now. But with the blonde, like it's just not gonna, and with the length of it, I can't really do a twist out. So for those of us who are in the category that we are not, we need that support. What do we do?
You need some help. I can speak to what I've offered for my clients. We have we have virtual consultations. We have virtual sessions. So these sessions include, I'm going to walk you through the blow dry.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to say, hey, yeah, just part it into 4 sections and then blow dry it. But if you've never done that before, you know what I'm saying? I have clients who have never done their hair before and have called in a panic. Like, Ashleigh, I don't know what to do. I don't even have a blow dryer. I don't have a flat iron. I don't have
Wow. Right. Yes.
So just giving you the list of what to purchase, and then offering that service of walking you through it, guiding you through it.
Yeah.
And then there are plenty of information on YouTube. Whether you're not, purchasing a session via Taylor in York, there's a lot of, it's finding that good advice that is out there to
I'm going to go to Taylor in York, because we don't know on YouTube, we don't always know what's good advice. Right.
And that's me just being modest Mary all of the time, thinking of, the people that.
Right. Not to be insulting, because like, hey, somebody might see my show on YouTube and be like, girl, she don't know what she's talking about. That's not to disparage anybody, but what it is to say is that as a person who typically relies on someone to provide the service, me looking at YouTube, I may not know the right video that's going to help me.
Right.
So let me ask you a question about conditioning. Mm-hmm. I know that what I do know is that having blonde hair, we need to make sure that we are staying moisturized and conditioned. So what does that look like from a DIY perspective? Because, can I do the old school egg and mayonnaise treatment?
Yes, you can. That's an excellent protein building treatment for your hair. One thing that I would add to that, and this is something that I do, I did it on my hair a couple of weeks ago, is an olive oil treatment. It's something about the way the hair feels after. It just loads your hair with those fatty acids and what that equates to for your hair. The moisture, it softens it. It helps to lay that cuticle down. It's great nourishment for your hair. I would also suggest, and this is something we also do have on the website, is we curate packages, product packages, because you can purchase the products through the salon. But you want to find something that is not going to coat your hair with those waxes and the parabens that are in it. That's the stuff that helps products to stay on the shelves for weeks, months, years on end, and where it can be like a $3.50. But
now
on the back end.
Here's what's interesting, and I want everybody to not take this lightly, because when you're talking about it, right? Like, I know just kitchen, mayonnaise and egg. I don't know why it works, but now you're saying you're getting the fatty acids and the so yeah, like it's a reason why professionals exist, right? Because I'm not going to say who said it, but someone very close to me who was experiencing their hair is dry, and she's older. She's gonna kill me. I tell her that I said this, but she was like, "I'm getting ready to go get some pink lotion."
Ooh, that's taking
so the level of, there are things that we can do to maintain, keep our hair on our heads, but understanding what it is that we're doing. And we may not know the jargon, but that's why we can consult our professionals. And that's why, like, what you guys do is still a necessary thing. It still helps us to kind of, and with some help.
Absolutely. Because, when you think about it, if you have on, let's be real, okay? You got on $1,200 shoes, $300 blouse, some bad, pants. If everything is presenting luxury and self-care, but this isn't together, it doesn't it doesn't match.
No.
If you're gonna do it all the way from head to toe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying go and spend $150 every week in the salon, but you do have it where you can invest in quality products.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta match.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I talk to somebody who's educated about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so ladies, I'm gonna tell you now, and I guess I'm gonna probably book a session with Ashleigh. You said don't get box colors.
Lord.
But Ashleigh and I had a whole conversation around the enemy of the state, honey. Those grays are coming, and I'm trying so hard to just go ahead and fight it. I think because my hair is so light now, they blend in with the blonde, but for those ladies who they're not ready to reveal the grays in the roots and that kind of thing, they can book a session at Taylor and York with you.
They can. It's on the website, and it directs you to our scheduling app, and then you would just go under virtual consultations. And since we're talking about,
what's your website?
www.taylorandyorksalon.com.
taylorandyorksalon.com. You can go in, make an appointment, book a session,
and what it is, I get the products for you. So this isn't off the shelf. This is only things this is what we use.
Oh.
And there's different levels to it. Again, it speaks to, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not going to send you mix 30 grams of developer and I'm not doing that. But it's the simpler. It's the more, it's the semi-permanent. So it comes with the applicator bottle, the gloves, comes with the product, and I walk you through it.
Okay.
Virtually, like I'm there with you. Like, no, part your hair here, tilt your hair down, and do. So it comes with everything. It comes with the products we would use at the salon. So I would rather do that than you coming back for a minimum 3-week session to undo the damage and the color that you did. Like that's realistic, because we don't know how long this thing is going to last.
Yeah. So listen, we already talked. I'm going to try to see what but I'm just going to, thank you. I appreciate that. It took me a really long time. And, interestingly, as I was doing my hair, I did have a moment where, I'm trying to I am so very grateful. It's not even a try. I am so very grateful, but so many different things are happening that that cause me to reflect on, my privilege and the fact that my daughter is older, and in my household, I had like a whole 3-4 hours to do my hair. Like,
right.
Like some people don't have that kind of
they don't
the privilege of time. And the fact that I just kind of happened to have some stuff at home, some products, or I was able to get some products to kind of keep me going, but that little moment, I was like, boy, I'm so grateful for this. Cause if I had a house full of people or, family members that I had to care for or little ones, I was like, yo, my daughter's, off doing her thing. My husband was taking care of some things. I was like, dang, I'm in here.
Right.
So taking my time. What would I do, if I didn't have that? So, just that little, gratitude moment. So
yeah, I think about that too. I do. Just the ones that don't have it, where you can have those couple of minutes to just be with yourself in your mind, whatever that may look like. It's invaluable.
It really
you don't really realize how invaluable it is until you don't have it, where you got mommy, or babe, or I can't, just the chaos on top of everything else that may be going on. Yeah.
So I thank you for sharing those tips. There's so many more questions that I have. So many more, but I would like to, again, reiterate, if, those of you who may not have a stylist, or your stylist is not at the point where she can support what you need, please visit go to the website, TaylorInYorkSalon.com, and see some of the services, the virtual services that Ashleigh will be offering, and back away from the high heat.
Yeah, and our page. It's very, our IG page is very interactive.
Yes. And
I always
beautiful work.
Thank you. But I always speak to, and I say this in the salon, because there's this myth, if you will, this urban myth that because you go to, I did a live with another stylist in DC, Jamal Edmonds, but just how, because, you go to me, you can't talk to any other stylist.
Yes.
And that's not it. We share information, and that promotes growth. You know what I mean? So if there's something that I can answer, I'm going to answer it. I'm not going to be like, you got to come to Taylor in York. No, it's a community. That's what we're about. So
yeah, so important to know and so important to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in these times, like you said, those walls are like, hey, we got to support one another.
Yeah, those walls are gone. Those barriers have been knocked
down. So sharing information, going to find the people who can support the journey or support the process is what
absolutely.
And then too, I also do want to say, like, shout out to, because you've got not only you, but you've got some other stylists who are connected to you, who do natural hair, who do phenomenal work as well.
Yeah.
I'm watching them, and that's a whole nother, another realm of conversation that we, really haven't gotten into. That, like I said, as whenever I'm doing the show, I'm thinking about all the different conversations.
Sure.
So some of those ladies too. Shout out to your staff and your sisters who work over at Taylor in York. And
Quarita, she's excellent at natural hair, and just really bringing out the beauty in it, and helping you to build the relationship with your curly hair texture. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anything like it. Mm-hmm. Never. Kiara, she's from LA. She's here a couple weeks on in. She's amazing with curly hair too. Shannon, excellent with color and just overall hair care. Mm-hmm. I love it. And that's what I miss. I miss my family. I miss the salon family tremendously.
Yeah. And I've seen it from I love to sit and watch. So again, Ashleigh Taylor of Taylor in York, but the whole team is bomb. And so with that, I do want to, on the note of gratefulness, I wanted to segue into the art segment. And if that has time, I invite you to stay. But I was reading a New York Times article about a specific genre of art that I want us to get into. So we're going to cue our transition music.
Okay. That was an hour?
No, that wasn't an hour.
Oh, like, yeah, that went by fast. Okay. And I got my girl Erica.
We're still working out. Last week we were on a different streaming platform, and this one we're working on and using a different platform. So if you guys see me leaning forward and clicking and everything, I'm still getting used to the different platforms. But we are now in our art segment. Yay! And no, it hasn't been an hour, but the time does go by really quickly, Ashleigh. So especially with guests, I love my guests and I love the organic conversations. And so sometimes I have to make that quick switch and squeeze everything in. Mm-hmm. So, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, as I work through my timing issues. But I was reading a New York Times article, and it was the week of August 12th. I think that was Easter Sunday. And there was an article written by Eric Kopage. I believe that I'm saying his name right. And I was looking at the name of the article, but the author of the article, and I kept saying the name sounds familiar. He, I think, is probably well known for two books that he wrote previously. One was Black Pearls. It was a motivational book for African Americans, geared towards African Americans. It was a little black book, and it was like motivational snippets. And I feel like everybody had it back in the day. But he's the author of Black Pearls, and he also was the author of a book called Father to Son. It was a novella. But the article that I was reading, it was called, he basically went on this journey to find depictions of Jesus that looked like him. That particular article came out on Easter Sunday, which, rightly so, when we're focusing on, that's our focus on Easter Sunday. But the images that he found, he worked with researchers and historians, and he looked all over the world to find how do different people across the globe depict Jesus.
Right.
And actually looking through his bio, he had an article, I think the week prior, called, it was about the fact that growing up in LA, he was always baffled by the fact that Jesus had blue eyes.
Right.
And so you said, And so, but I wanted to show a couple of the art pieces that he had included in the article. The article itself was a really great read because it brought up the idea of, for me, brought up the idea of representation.
Right.
But what we're seeing visually and what art does to our psyche and that kind of thing. And I know before, when we were having our sort of behind the scenes conversation, I was saying how Ashleigh is an art lover as well. So I asked her to stay tuned with us as we looked at the art. And so Ashleigh, real quick, I know when I'm in your place, I'm always like, okay, which one of these art pieces can I snatch and run with? What's your inspiration when you're picking art?
Art, it has a message. Art speaks. It's you can equate it to when I go, if I'm going shopping and I can't get my mind off of those pair of jeans that I just tried on. Like it's some form of communication. It's the energy that's in it. I'm, little known Black history fact, I am big on energy and spirituality. So it's the same with art.
Okay.
The same with it speaks. There is a transference of energy.
Okay. So you go by what just resonates with you, and then that means it's going home with you.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
It feels good. And usually that medium it's the colors. Like if colors could talk, that's the conversation that I'm having with the piece of art. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's something about this. It's speaking to me. I want it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Afiba, pull up the pieces. I pulled these pieces. These came from the article. So let me not claim that I found them anywhere, or let me not claim that, they were my selection. So no, that's love. Did I send it to you?
I got love and fashion.
Did I not give you art?
Now I have that video that you sent.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. Because
I want to see it too.
Now everybody's on the edge of their seats. So it's New York Times on Sunday. Look, and I have it right here. That's why you got to be ready to pivot.
Nice.
That's why you got to be ready to pivot.
That's beautiful. bottom image with I'm assuming that's Jesus, the black Jesus.
Yes, it is. Look,
Oh,
this is so
the
janky.
colors.
Man, I'm going to upload them to my Instagram page so you guys can see them. But the article, I will tell you guys, go to the New York Times or Google Eric V. Copage, Copage. And he has depictions that he has pulled from Indonesia, from Ethiopia, from Brazil. The one that you were looking at and admiring, Ashleigh, is Brazilian piece. And he even has a photo of one, because he talks about this idea of what he wanted to do was to try to find depictions of Jesus in all of these different forms. And so he even found one.
Oh, is it a woman?
It's a woman.
Come on.
Yes.
And see, that's the thing.
Called Krista.
That's the thing about art, because it takes you to so many different areas of thought. Like I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, me either. So this one is called Krista, and this one actually, so he went kind of all over the world, but that particular piece was done and donated to a church in Manhattan. It was donated to it was a British woman, Edwina Sandys, and it was on exhibit at the Cathedral of St. John in Manhattan. The archdiocese was not happy and took it down.
Right.
That was in 1984 when they displayed it. But in 2016, she donated it back to them, and they accepted it. Now, the article doesn't say whether or not they are displaying it, but they accepted the actual sculpture. So go to the NewYorkTimes.com and pull up the article. It was printed Sunday, April 12th, or Google Eric Copage, Copage.
Copage. Okay.
Yeah. So if you are interested in, so the whole article, searching for Jesus who looks like me.
I love that. Searching for Jesus who looks like me.
How about that? So I couldn't bring the images to you guys today because I apparently forgot to send them to the producer. So on to the next.
Right.
And I'll post a couple in my Insta story. So that's our art segment.
I like that.
Yeah. So our next segment, we'll keep pushing through because we had so much fun with Ashleigh that I usually eat up most of the time with my guests. So we'll go into our love section. So I get a lot of content, or I get content and thoughts from lots of different places, but it seems like whenever I open the New York Times, I find so many fascinating things that I
right. I love New York Times.
Yes, I like to bring to people. And so one of the things, early on when this first started, I was talking about the idea of dating during this time, but there's been now this idea about they've been talking about marriages and our marriages surviving or thriving and that kind of thing. And we talked a little bit about agape love to help us stay together. Mm-hmm. But now we're talking. I have some friends who are engaged. What are you going to do now that things have been shut down? And so the interesting thing is, so as I was sort of thinking about that and researching, I came across a couple of articles about people who are getting married. I know some people who just got married, and I know some people who are saying they're going to go forward with their wedding plans anyway. So the knot.com said that there are over 450,000 weddings planned that are currently planned in between the months of March and May.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what are people doing? Right? We talked about people getting creative. We got a couple of images of what people are doing. People are trying lots of things. Some people, because there's two different things you got to think about. One is like if you cancel, the logistics of canceling a wedding.
Right.
Catching people and like, are you going to get your money back?
Ooh.
Are people going to be able to like, are venues going to give you your money? What if people are already in town? All that kind of stuff. So there are people who are actually doing like, still getting married, but like downsizing it to like 10 people. There are people who are like doing some backyard situations and having people make sure, or going in the park and making sure people are like distanced apart and masked up and hand sanitized. And then there are people who are like going to the courthouse.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be me and you, babe. Like, we don't need a bunch of people and I'm going back in. We're going to do this anyway.
That's where the definition of love is defined, in my opinion. This right here, like you are in the thick of what couples usually face a couple years into it. Finances. I'm around you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Children, parenting, all of that in like a fast forward version. Like that's how I think you determine like, okay, we really meant to be. And even having to do a wedding,
yeah. And I wrote that was kind of like, this is definitely that moment of like, if you are in close quarters, you either quarantined or shut down and facing, it can kind of help you get clear.
Real clear.
Like,
real quick.
And you can decide like, hey, we don't need to, wait for a wedding, or we don't have to postpone. We know we want to be together, so we can still go ahead and get married. And you know what? And I love it. I wanted to talk about it because I want people to know that even though the news is talking about, people who are, the divorce rates are high, or this, that, and third, love is still out here winning. And people are still getting married, and people are still making it work, regardless of what this looks like. People are still doing it, and so I'm always looking for the feel good story, and I'm always looking for how do we encourage folks. And I know somebody who made the announcement today on Instagram, and I was like, oh snap! They were like, we did it, y'all. We did it. Here's some
good for them.
And I know some people who are saying, and I know some people who are actually not cohabitating, but have a wedding plan. And they're like, hey, we're still going forward with looking for a place to live together. And we're, people are using all the different platforms to have virtual weddings. Here's our Zoom code, or here's our Skype code. And, tune in as we still do it. Because, hey, if you got a wedding dress, what you going to do?
Oh, gosh. I have a client who her wedding was scheduled for April 11th, and they had to postpone it until September.
Okay.
But she was the vendors were flexible. But I did think about, because she's very much an A-type.
Okay.
Very much an A-type, and she's used to having things
a certain way.
Right. And I think, what all of this has taught us is really how to surrender and let things fall and flow the way they're supposed to, the way they're going to, because you don't you don't have any control over it. And she was, even her emails were just very light, you know, like, hey, we still love each other. The wedding, the actual wedding is not going to define who we are as a couple. So yeah, we're going to postpone it.
I love it. I love it.
You know?
So the takeaway here, because I always like to cook. At my regular job, I learned that I'm a recapper. We talked about group dynamics at like my daytime job. And so I always like to walk away with a takeaway. So the takeaway, I love that. Like, you're not in control.
Yeah.
Right? May not look like what you already had planned on it looking like, but that's okay. And that love still,
right.
love still here, love still wins.
Yeah.
Just look different. Who were you to think you were going to define that anyway?
Right. Right. This hasn't taught us anything. You are not in control, and don't even try it, because you will wear yourself out.
Honey.
Completely out.
Yeah. Just count on love. And if love is to be there, it will be there.
Yeah.
And it'll carry you through. And you know what? Hey, even that may look different than what you thought it was going to look like. Shout out to the co-parenting in this time of Corona, which that might be my next topic. Who all out there is co-parenting at this time? Because I'm sure folks have had to get creative with that too. But today we are celebrating those people who have found a way to make their weddings and their marriages work, and having people attend and still share in their nuptials and in their joy. I haven't been invited to a virtual wedding, but I still celebrate just watching the folks, you know, like we're doing this. And I'm excited for those people who have shared their news. So
yeah,
that's
probably cool.
Yeah. And their pictures look so nice. And sis had a cute wig on. And I was like, girl, you did that.
We'll make a way.
Yes. And so we're going to close out with our final segment, which is our fashion segment. Yay! And I always do my claps for my final segment, my fashion segment.
Yeah.
So with this final segment, let me set it for
I love Erykah Badu. We had a whole Erykah Badu Tiny Desk YouTube.
I talked about Tiny Desk concert last week. Yes, Tiny Desk concerts are the business. If you have not tried them, y'all should have watched my show last week. Not too late. Go find it on YouTube. Art Loves Fashion. But I talked about Tiny Desk concert. So for this final segment, I want to start off with a clip, and I hope that you guys can see it. I hope it comes through smoothly. I think it will. We may see it a little bit choppy on our receiving end. But sometimes I feel like whenever I'm thinking about fashion and I want to talk about fashion and keep it going, I remember being young and I remember like people sometimes like to sort of make people feel a little bit like it's frivolous. And it's not important, right? Like in this time, why would I continue to be talking about fashion? But as business owners and all the people in the ethos and the ecosystem of the world of fashion is still very important to us. And I talk a little bit sometimes about like psychology and mental health along with fashion. But this is one of my favorite clips from The Devil Wears Prada. I wanted to like play this clip.
Thinking about that.
Like, yes, this is still relevant. So, Afiba, if you could pull up a clip, I hope we get success with this.
That's it. That's what I was thinking of too.
Learning about this stuff.
Can we hear it?
This stuff? Oh, okay. I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back. But what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. And you're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns. And then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets? I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that's for you by the people in this room.
That movie changed
From a pile of stuff.
that read she gave. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah. And so I, shout out to, everyone who is in fashion industry at all of its different levels. And I wanted to show that because, like she said, you want to, whatever we have on our backs, there are people who are connected to that garment. Yep. On so many different levels.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, we are going to continue to talk about fashion because this is people's career, their passions, their jobs. And this industry, the beauty industry, continues to be important. And it continues to employ millions and millions and millions of people. So it's important. So with that, I just had to do that to encourage myself. And I look at a lot of my friends who are connected to the industry in so many ways. And we're not talking about the macro level. We're talking about people, you lived in New York, you think about the people who things are done so differently now. But I think about the people who work in the fashion industry who used to have to roll the big garment racks down the street with all the things on it.
Oh,
people have jobs that are connected to this industry. And so shout out to stylists, shout out to the garment district workers, a shout out to the seamstresses and the tailors and those people who help us to continue this thing going. And we all have to wear clothes. If you're into it or not, you still want to be partaking, which is what she was saying. Whether you want to or not, you're in the fashion industry. So
now, as I go and put Devil Wears Prada on my list, I'm watching that.
Yeah. So on our last segment of fashion, this weekend was the last weekend of Coachella. And it seemed like only yesterday that we were all glued to our TV sets watching Beyonce debut Homecoming, which she completely upended Coachella because everyone was trying to check out Homecoming. And she had headlined Coachella actually the year before. I thought she was the headliner of Coachella in 2019. She wasn't. She was the headliner in 2018, but debuted her Netflix special in 2019, the same Coachella weekend.
Work out.
Yeah. So, yeah. So on that note, Coachella, of course, was canceled, but that doesn't mean we can't still enjoy our good festival wear. You may want to do your own music festival in the house. I know many people are watching our favorite DJs go live. So how about putting on some of your festival gear in the house and having your own music festival? Right? And so I wanted to give a couple tips on how to get your festival wear going in the house. Okay. So, any good festival outfit, here's some ingredients. You can mix them and match them and blend them and do them all together, or you can pick one thing and let that be your central theme. So, So one of the things about Coachella is in the desert, and people love to like be nostalgic and try to recall the good Woodstock days. And so you always see people who want to do a bit of that hippie vibe, that boho vibe, that 60s flower child vibe. And so you see lots of this, lots of flowy kinds of things like this, and lots of kimonos, and you can do your good sheer full length thing with stuff under it, right? The key is layering. And they say if you stay out in that desert and starts getting cold, it gets really cold out there at night. If you're at the local festival, if you're at Broccoli Fest and you stay out there till it gets dark, it could get cold on you. So the key, you got your good layers. You got your sheer thing. All right, that's one key, one good go-to look for a festival. Another good look is tie-dye.
I love
Shout
that.
out to my girl LTD. Is it LTD Creations? I'll tag her. But she did this shirt. This is my boy Jimi Hendrix. This one is tie-dye and frayed and cut and, distressed, to make it look a little bit more lived in and warm. And listen, you don't have to go buy nothing new. Go to the thrift store. Go to the thrift store, and some of our thrift stores are still operating online, and get you a cute little band t-shirt. You can wear it like this. You can wear it cropped like this. So tie-dye. Another one, we love our neons. Neon is still going strong. Neon is not going anywhere. Okay? Some neons. We need that. And we love a little baby doll.
Yes.
The little back out.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
So the key is to keep it fun, keep it flirty, keep it light, keep it simple. Because even though, you got a little sheer thing, you're outside. You might have to, and it needs to be functioning because you might be in the dirt, the grass. You might fall off your blanket, depending on what you're doing out there. And then you might have to go to a porta potty. So be mindful. You might have to put on some boots, right? Don't do no flip-flops. Don't do no open toe. Because if you're out there, and again, I keep saying out there, we in here. So you can put whatever you want on your feet. But when outside opens back up, he's a good Rihanna, honey. Rihanna killed. I had to include her in the festival. She just shut it down. She didn't follow her. She said, Rihanna makes her own. So, come to Rihanna.
Everything.
All the things.
All
the things. She got the good Gucci t-shirt on and a full-length glittery onesie. And then, again, little flimsy, little something. We got little teeny tiny tops. Because, again, you're
cute.
Thrift store, honey. Thrift store. Again, you're in the desert. You want to make sure that you are...
Oh, that's everything. That's top.
Little thrift store right here. This was Goodwill. This little jumper thing, Goodwill. And then also what you see that I have on. So we got flowy. We've got, look, she's got the little teeny tiny top on with a hat. We've got flowy. We've got tie-dye. We've got neon. All those different things are giving festival vibes. And of course, iridescent has been a big rage lately. I went full Monty and just got a whole, iridescent jumper dress. But if you don't want to go full Monty with it, you can do iridescent accessories. This is a belt. It's a corset belt by my girl at Shop Vanity Pics. I had to fight the girls to get this.
That's cute.
And underneath it all, what you see everywhere, and it works in every setting, and everybody has them, is your good denim shorts. You can put your denim shorts under your flowy thing.
Yep.
You can put your denim shorts with your crop top.
Mm-hmm. Cute.
Your denim shorts with your tie-dye. So, you know, you don't have to be fully outfitted out. You can, these are always a great go-to. If you don't have hair, get you some. And then, of course, finally, gotta have a belt bag. I guess for all your things, so you can drink and eat and dance and party, and your hands free. So you need your belt bag, and then whatever accessories that you deem necessary. So I encourage you, and when you're at home and y'all are looking for something fun, you got all these clothes, or you're bored, do your own music festival.
I know that's right. Throw a little cocktail, have a real good time.
Yes. There you go. This is a necklace.
Oh.
It's a necklace. I don't know how it's gonna stay on. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get some hairpins, and make it stay on. Because you gotta have some feathers, some fringe. That makes the music festival. Feathers and fringe transform any outfit into instant music festival.
Instantly.
So this weekend, if you watching live DJs, we all know D Nice is tearing it up, but it's lots and lots and lots of other DJs who are out here getting it in, trying to exercise their craft and their creativity and give them some joy and some outlet. So, you know, add another twist to it. Dress up festival music style. Invite your friends for a virtual Coachella.
They're fun.
And tell everybody to get dressed up. You got some stuff at home, you can make it work. But that's it on my end. Ashleigh, I look forward to seeing you in your music festival outfit next time I see you.
Yes, I'm gonna put something together for sure. Dress up in my own closet.
In your own closet, absolutely. That's and again, if you still are sort of in need, I will say, back to that point, there's still our sisters who have boutiques who are still selling, still need to make a living and keep their thing going. They're doing online sales and showing their products online. You got thrift stores who are still showing their products online. So if you need things, you still have to either exercise your shopping itch, or there are things that you actually really do need. I would encourage you to don't forget about the small businesses. You still need your dollars. The dollars that you may, have to be strategic in spending, but need to spend nonetheless. So keep the money in our communities.
No, that's right.
Yes, and on that note, our takeaway for the fashion segment is have your own music festival at home and get you some cutoff jeans.
Yes.
And that is it for art, love, and fashion with my special guest today, Ashleigh Taylor of Taylor in York Salon.
This
you
was
can
fun.
Find her on Instagram. You can find her page on Instagram. What's your Instagram, your salon's Instagram?
The same, Taylor in York Salon.
Taylor in York Salon. Don't do Taylor in York because you're going to find somebody else. Right. Taylor in York Salon on Instagram. Do you have any other social media outlets?
My personal is Strum's mom.
That's right. Still out here making it work.
Yeah, and that's it. Just those two.
Okay. Well, follow her, check her out. She'll have some interesting, and go to her website. She'll have some interesting supports and services for those of you who need it and have questions. She said she's definitely here to help and ask.
Yeah.
And with that, you all have an amazing, amazing week. Thank you for tuning in to Art Loves Fashion every Sunday from 5 to 6. You can find me on Instagram at Sharonda-Irving. You will be able to see this episode and previous episodes on YouTube at Sharonda-Irving or WLBSradio.com.
That's perfect.
Peace.
Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda-Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion.